Hey friends, Laura here. I'm here today to do my June TBR. So I am going to change the game a little bit. I have been watching so many people do these fun TBR games, and I always fail with my TBR jar without fail. But I have found a system that I think is going to work a little bit better. So I'm going to show you guys my TBR jars, my plan of attack, how we're going to do this game. And then we're just gonna start picking books. Normally I have like a previously comprised list of everything. So I'm gonna go over all of those books first, and then we're gonna do this live, and I'm gonna choose my TBR with you guys. I think that will just make it a little bit more exciting for me. So yeah, let's get into the pre-approved books that I know I'm gonna definitely listen to, and the TBR and Beyond Reading Club books, and then we'll get into the TBR jar. Credit, I have been watching a couple of TBR games the past couple of months. Cassidy Washburn has a game that I sort of borrowed this from. Coffee Books and Bullet Journals has a similar game. I'm not exactly kidnapping their idea, but it's just loosely based on it and stuff that I thought that I can do. So I'm sort of taking my own twist on it and doing it my own way. But if anyone wants to kidnap my idea, please feel free. It's just fun, and it is helping me get down my physical TBR. That's really what it's doing. So hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you guys will take the idea if you guys think it's something that would help your reading life. Note, I know that it's been very, very popular the past couple of months to sort of deviate from TBRs and don't do TBRs, and I love doing TBRs. I'll be honest. I love a plan. I love a list. I find that comforting to me. I like planning stuff out. I know people find it very, very restricting. I don't find it restricting, so sometimes people I never follow my TBR, but to me it comforts me to know what I want to read and kind of having a plan of attack. So just know that I'm doing this because that's what I like to do, and if you decide that you don't like to do TBRs, that's great, but I find it comforting, and I like the organization of a TBR. So just want to say that. I know that it's been very, very popular to be like, I'm not going to do a TBR anymore. And that's awesome. But for me, I like the structure of having a TBR and the freedom to kind of deviate from it a little bit. But for the most part, I do like the structure. Books that I'm going to be reading are for the TBR and Beyond reading group. The one is a little bit of a delayed read. I actually might try to read this when I'm done with all my middle grade reads, but if I don't, I am going to pick up Library of Lost Things by Laura Taylor Namey. This was the reading book for the month of May, and I just ran out of time with the middle grade reading challenge. This is actually her first book, and I loved her second book a lot. This book has to do with a bookstore, and it follows these two characters, Darcy Wells and Astrid Fleet, a former team pilot, and their paths wind up crossing in a bookstore. I love books about bookstores so much, and I just did not get around to reading this one. This one is actually signed to me, so it's entirely possible I'll probably keep this book because I really like her writing style, and we share the same exact name. And then the actual book that we're reading for the TBR and Beyond reading group for the month of June is Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. I have to actually read this one. This is probably one of the first books I read in June because I have to return it to the library. I hope they let me renew it. If they don't let me renew it, then I might just have to get it out again, which I can do, or I can just buy it on my Kindle. We'll see. But I do definitely want to read this book. I really loved King of Scars, and I'm excited to see what happens in Rule of Wolves. I've heard some really incredible things about it. But yeah, this is definitely a book that's high on that list, and I'm really excited to tackle it. So, normally with my audiobooks, I tend to choose some really long options, but because there was some sales recently and just some shorter books, I decided to choose a lot in hopes that I can get through them all. It's getting so nice out other than this weekend. This weekend's pretty crummy, but I tend to bike ride a lot in the summer and go for a lot of walks. Also, my podcasts are sort of wrapping down a little bit. I have some breaks. I have 2 weeks off, I have a week off this month for Memorial Day. So I have a lot more listening time. MuggleCast is on vacation. Millennial's on vacation. So I have fewer podcasts to listen to, which means more audiobook listening time. So here are just some of the books I hope to tackle. They're quite ambitious, so let's take note at how many I actually complete by the end of the month. I'll be impressed if I get through half of them. But some of them are super short. So the first audiobook that I am going to read is How You All Doing by Leslie Jordan. This actor is just really, really funny, and I know he's in a bunch of things, but I know him best from Call Me Kat on Fox with Maya Bialik, and I just really like him as like an actor, but I also follow him on Instagram, and he's just super funny, and he just seems like he'd be fun to read a story from. I tend to choose my audiobooks from celebrities by just how amusing they are, how to tell a story. I read James Corden's, I read Busy Phillips recently, and they're just really, really funny. And on my commute, I tend to look for things that are fast paced and just a joy to listen to. And again, just someone that has an interesting life experience. And I'm really excited to tackle this one. It's relatively short, so I might actually finish it earlier in the month. Another one that I actually technically I did read this already, but by Billie Eilish. I got the coffee table book, but there's also like an audiobook that she read where she added some additional content, and I recently listened to her music and really like her quite a bit. So I decided to also pick up the audiobook from Audible, and I will mark it as fully read when I actually listen to it. But again, it's not that long. It's like an hour. So again, two relatively short audiobooks that I think I should tackle relatively quickly, and these will be like my nonfiction reads for the month. I have one other nonfiction book, and we'll talk about that next. This one I got from a sale, and I'll go over the title, and that will sort of see why I wind up picking it up. It's from a Audible sale like yesterday, and I'm just gonna read you guys the title, and then I'll attach the picture and tell you guys why I decided to pick it up. But the book is called Good Morning, Good Life: 5 Simple Habits to Master Your Mornings and Upgrade Your Life. Here is a photo. On like a productivity kick and also like an organizational kick. And because we're heading into summer and I really want to make the most of this summer, like I want to be pretty ambitious in my plans. And I tend to be a little bit lazy in the morning. So I'm hopeful listening to this and getting some tips and tricks will help me enhance my morning routine and make it the best and sort of make it a strong start to the day so I can get a lot done every single day but still enjoy my summer. So that's why I decided to pick this one up. Just seems like it would be an engaging read, and I hope I get a lot out of it. So it's definitely going to be a book that I'm going to read earlier in the month so I could utilize these skills for the tail end of the month when I do have off and school is off for the summer. Another relatively short book is another book that is a sequel, and that is Cassidy Blank, Symphony of Bones, by K.R. Roth. I read the first Cassidy Blake book, Path of Bones, earlier, I think it's like 2 months ago, and I actually sort of know this author. She is follows her. I follow her on Twitter, and I listen to all the podcasts she used to be on, and she is writing this series, and it's great. It's like cozy mystery meets spooky, and I just love that character. So I wound up picking this audiobook. Again, it's super short. It's only 5 hours, and I have a pretty long commute, so I think I could probably tackle this relatively quickly, and hopefully by the time I finish book 2, book 3 will be remastered for Audible, so I could also get that book. But I remember really enjoying book 1. It has to do with ghosts and mediums and a solid mystery, a potential romance, and I adored it. I gave it 5 stars, so I'm really hopeful that this book will be right up my alley as well. And then the next book that I'm super excited about is called On the Way to the Wedding, which is the last official Bridgerton book. And here is a photo. Small correction. This book is called Whisper of Bones. The third book is Symphony of Bones. I will hopefully be reading Whisper of Bones. I'm going to be done with the Bridgerton series. I read this book. I started it in December and I finished it in early June. I really, really love this series. I have to get some more recommendations for series that has big families and Regency romances because I love this book so much. Can't wait to read Gregory's book, and then I have to go back and listen to the novella tie-ups because there's a novella about Violet that I really need to read. I've read all the other ones. I've read all the second epilogues, but I haven't read that one, so I'm definitely going to have to pick that up, and I'll probably pick up that in early July, and I'll probably listen to Bridgerton, the whole book, but mostly listen to it for Violet's story. And then the last book I hope to tackle this month is When Justice Sleeps by Stacey Abrams. Abrams is a phenom this year. She is spectacular. I do have her romance books on my TBR as well, but this is a mystery thriller and it's like a political thriller. And I have heard really good things about it, and I really hope that I get to read it soon. And just to sort of shout out two other books I would love to tackle this month. I'm not going to attach pictures because this video is getting so long. Shadow Crosser is the third Stormrunner novel, and the audiobook for Keeper of the Lost Cities Book 9 Unlocked, which has a lot of background information and also a novella. I think that's a lot of audiobooks to tackle, but I have hope I will hopefully be able to do it, especially since a lot of them are super short, except for When Justice Sleeps and On the Way to the Wedding. All the other ones are pretty short. So now let's get into the TBR game. I have two TBR jars that I made. One is all of my e-arcs, or my NetGalley arcs, I guess you could say. They're all in this jar. And then the other TBR jar is my prompts. So every month going forward, 1 week out of the month, I am going to read my e-arcs, as many e-arcs as I can get to. And then the rest of the month, I am going to read books chosen from my challenge thing. And there's different challenges. There's a lot of different ones. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll 2 dice. I have a thing on my computer. I'm going to roll 2 6-sided dice, and whatever number I get, I have to read that number prompts. And if at the end of the month I succeed in reading all my prompts, I get a reward, and if I don't, I get a consequence. So yeah, that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to roll the dice, and if I ever roll 2 6s, which will be 6 prompts, I also have to read 7 prompts because that's like a daily double. So that was a little bit unclear, but if I ever roll a daily double like 2 6s, which would be 12 prompts, I really have to read 13 because it's going to be one more. So let's see how many numbers I roll. My luck on the first shot, I will probably get 13, but we will see. I wound up rolling 8, which means I'm going to be pulling 8 prompts. And last month, I did wind up reading 12 books. So I'm probably going to pick like 5 more books just to sort of complete my TBR. But let's get picking and see what is the first prompt that I have to choose for. So the book I wound up choosing has 2 meanings. It is volume 2 of Heartstabber by Alice Oseman. This is a backlist book. I'm not even sure when it came out, but this is inspired by like a graphic novel that was published as like a webcomic, and then I got turned into one. So this one came out in 2020, but it's been out for a while. And it is also Pride Month, and I'm trying to read a little bit more LGBTQ fiction this month, so this definitely fits, and it'll probably be a super quick read, but I really like the first one, and it's being adapted for Netflix, so I would like to catch up. So this is the first prompt, read an author's backlist, and Alice Oseman is the book I chose for that. And let's choose a next prompt. Book or prompt I chose is first in series. So choose a book that is first in a series. So let's go figure out one that could work. Another book that I wound up choosing for this prompt is Arsenic and Adobo by Mila May Melissa, and this is a cozy mystery, a Tita Rosie kitchen mystery, and it follows this girl, Lila, and when she moves back home to recover from a horrible breakup, she starts working in her family's failing restaurant, and she has to deal with aunts that want to basically have her date someone else because she's dealing with a bad breakup. But she winds up dealing with a nasty food critic who winds up being her ex-boyfriend, and when he turns up dead, she becomes the prime suspect, and she has to sort of investigate his murder so she is not on the chopping block. I love cozy mysteries, especially cozy mysteries that have to do with food. So this seemed like a perfect read. I got it relatively recently, so definitely a recent read, but also the first in a potential series, and I've heard really good things about this book as well. And there seems to be a little puppy in it. So really excited for this choice as well. These two books are relatively easier reads, so I'm excited to see what the next prompts are. Excited this one got chosen because it's a 5-star prediction read. I just actually posted my 5-star prediction video, so I have 5 books to choose from, and I'm going to go choose the one that seems the most one I want to read right now. So I'll be right back. I choose a re-listen, but I have like so many listening books to choose from. So another book from my 5-star prediction video was 5 Kingdoms, The Sky Raiders by Brandon Mull. I have actually in the middle of reading his Dragon Watch series again. I'm really liking it. And this one, I think it has to do with like a sky kingdom, I think. I don't know anything about it, but I really like his writing style. That's why I'm predicting I will love this series and give it 5 stars. I love his Fablehaven series. I'm really liking his Dragon Watch series. So this is another book that I'm really incredibly excited to read, and that's why I chose it for my 5-star prediction video, and I hope I really like it. And I have no middle grades on this reading TBR yet. So the next book, hopefully I get no more re-listens. But let's try to see if I can pull one out. Oh, one of my list books. Actually, let me go see what is on that list because I don't remember, and I will check in with you and let you guys know what that book is going to be. Goes to tackle is Bone Crier's Dawn by Catherine Purdy. This is a sequel. I got it relatively recently, and it is on my list of books to tackle, so this is the one that I'm going to focus on. And then the next prompt I have to choose for is author's backlist. I have to think about this because I'm trying to focus on my shelf of like all of my new books, but author backlist is a little bit challenging, so I'm gonna go see if I could find anything on that shelf that would work. I'll find something. If worse comes to worse, I'll go to my top 5 read shelves, but see you guys in a little bit. A little bit from my newly purchased books, but I did wind up picking Reign of Shadows by Sophie Jordan. I've had this for so long. This is like a Sleeping Beauty retelling, and it's the first book in a series. I think this is a duology. I've had it for so long, and I've really been craving some fantasy retellings recently, so this is the one that I chose, and it's relatively short. It's like not even 300 pages, so I think this will be a good book to read this month. And it is an author backlist because she has a lot of books out. She hasn't wrote YA in a while, but she does have a lot of like historical fiction books out, and I think she just came out with historical fiction YA that I'm really excited for. But this one is a fantasy fairy tale retelling. And then the next prompt, this jar, I think I might have to try to get a new jar because my hand is not that. I wound up choosing the prop E-Arc, so I'm going to choose Not Our Summer by Cassie Bazes. It just came out. It's a YA contemporary that has to do with cousins, and I've heard really good things about it. I do have an E-Arc of it, so I'll probably read that as the first book in my reading arcs week, which I'll probably do earlier in the month. I'm really excited for that one, but that's the arc I'll probably tackle for that prompt. Last 2 prompts. The first prompt was sequel, so I wound up picking Of Princes and Promises by Sanaya Menon. This book comes out in June, so it is a sequel. It's a sequel to Of Curses and Kisses. I got this one from a friend who had got an extra arc. She gifted it to me, and I'm really excited for this one. I liked Of Curses and Kisses, and I think this one will be a fun read. And then the last prompt I chose was another list book, so I am going to read Namesake by Adrienne Young, which also is a sequel. It is an e-arc that I have. It is on my list. So those are all of my TBR challenges. So if I read all 8 books, I don't have to do a penalty. And if I don't read all 8 books, then I do have to do a penalty. But I'm going to go figure out what are other books I'm going to sort of add and kind of pad out my TBR because I like to have more options. than what I was saying. And I'm gonna sort of figure out what other reading vlogs am I gonna do this month. I am definitely gonna do a NetGalley arc reading vlog. And I was thinking of doing like an adult reading vlog, like maybe like a week of reading adult romances. So that might be what pads out this reading vlog a little bit. So I'm gonna go make those choices, and I will add a few books to this TBR, and I will share them when I decide what they were gonna be. So see you guys in a few minutes. Some of the more random reads I sort of chose that don't really have no rhyme or reason to them is Forged in Fire and Stars by Adrienne Roberts. This is a book that is about like a blacksmith, and it has like a magical element. This is the author that wrote the Nightshade series, and I've heard really good things about this one. I got this one from ALA the last time I was able to go before the pandemic took away our conventions. But I'm really excited to dive into this one as well, and it was on my list, so and spring is coming to an end. I'm sort of at the tail end of middle grade May and middle grade March, so I do have a library book that I'm probably going to have to send back to the library relatively quickly, but if I can tackle this before I have to do that, that'd be great. But The Nightmare Thief by Nicole Lesperance has to do with memories and dreams, and it's another super quick read. This is like barely 300 pages, so this is another one that I hope to tackle relatively soon. And then the last middle grade read that I've had on my TBR for so long is The Last Chance Hotel by Nikki Thornton. This is a YA mystery that has to do with a boy named Seth who is kind of working at a hotel, but when one of the guests is murdered, Seth becomes the prime suspect, and he has to go on an adventure to prove that he is not the killer. And then in lieu of that, like, adult reading blog to kind of go with Arsenic and Adobo and maybe another read, I am going to pick up the Happy Everlaster playlist by Amy Jimenez and Dial A for Aunties, which is another thriller by Jessie Q. Sueto. And so these will kind of wrap up that reading vlog. But because it is Pride Month, I have a couple of like Pride, like, LGBTQ themes books that have been on my TBR for a while that I hope to tackle this month, and I'm going to talk about those next. Challenge for the TBR and Beyond reading group, and I always try to like complete that challenge. It kind of forces me to read diversely. So here are just some of the books that I sort of just tossed from my shelf that I know have LGBTQ elements in them. It's possible these books may get switched out if I find like other ones that are also on my TBR, but though they don't stand out to me. Like, I don't know that they have those elements, but these are the ones that I know that have the elements. So yeah, a couple of these are arcs. I actually just got one of them now. This is from Courtney Gold. It's The Dead in the Dark. It actually comes out in August. But this is a debut YA supernatural thriller from Wednesday Books about two girls who fall in love when they team up to stop an evil presence terrorizing their small town. I got this from Wednesday Books, I think from ALA. I got it a little while ago. And I really am craving some thrillers, so I'm really excited for this. And I love that sounds perfect. It's probably really, really eerie and really, really creepy, but it sounds great. So this is one that I definitely hope to tackle. If not this month, then definitely before August. I literally just got this book in the mail today, and that is Hanu and Ashu's Guide to Fake Dating by Abdiya Jagara. And this is Can't Tell Anyone the Truth About Their Relationship, not their parents, not their best friends, no one. And I think that this, is a middle grade book about LGBTQ plus relationships, and it's about fake dating for the middle grade set. Fake dating rule number 1. Hanu, yeah, I think this sounds really interesting, compelling, and I am really intrigued. I want to tackle this like immediately. And I literally just got it in the mail, and it actually just came out. So I will probably wind up tackling this in June as well. Another one that I got from Wednesday Book is Trouble Girls by Julie Lynn. Oh my God, like this. I don't know if I can't see the thing. But this is Julie Lynn Rubin, and this is a queer reimagining of Thelma and Louise with the aesthetics of Riverdale for fans of Mindy McGinnis and Courtney Summers. Trouble Girl is... yeah. It has elements of the Me Too movement. They could only rely on each other, and the love they find together is the one thing that truly makes them free. Again, this is another super short one. It's not even 300 pages, but I'm excited to read this one. It sounds good. And I also got this one from, I think this one is also from Wednesday Books. St. Martin's Press. So, also, The Extraordinaries by T.L. Kuhn is another one of my five-star prediction reads, and this is an LGBTQ plus story about superheroes. So I'm really excited for this one as well. And also, Cool for the Summer by Danielle Adler is the founder of LGBTQ Reads. Dahlia Adler delivers the perfect summer romance, a story of self-discovery and new love about the things we want, the things we need, and the people who will let us be who we are. This sounds adorable. Again, a really short read, not even 300 pages, but I've heard really good things about this author as well. And the last book that I am going to tackle for this one is Bedazzled by Ryan Lasawa, and this has a Comic-Con element. And there's an ex-boyfriend involved, there's a craft store, there's a comic book convention. I'm really excited. I always pick an endless amount of books for my TBR. Sorry that this book was, this picking with the jars was a little bit off. I will try to get that a little bit better for the future. But I hope you guys like it. Let me know if you think you might try a TBR game or if you like my TBR game and think I should do it again in the future. And I'll talk to you guys soon for another video. Bye.